Hey guys, it's Spyro4 here, and today we're checking out the Kiwi Ears Halcyon. This brand new IEM comes with a cool technology called the MEMS driver. So it has a dynamic driver, 3 balanced armatures, and finally the star of the show is the MEMS, new driver technology that is known right now recently in the audiophile world, and a lot of people are curious about what it does. But spoiler alert, this IEM is a great all-arounder. It works for pretty much anything: music, gaming, watching movies. This is such a great set, and the price of this is $260.59, I think, but if you subscribe to the Kickstarter, you could have gotten it for $199. I think the Kickstarter is over by now, but by watching this video, I'll tell you at the end if this one is worth it, what it excels on, what are the pros and cons. I'm also going to be comparing it to the Kiwi Airs Astro over there because those are just the standard for gaming. All right, let's see what we got in the unboxing. And by the way, liking the video simply supports me a lot, so please do that if you haven't yet. And here are these shells. These are made of aluminum, as you can see. Beautiful shells. I'm going to check them later. And the unboxing is really underwhelming by Kiwi Ears. It's just a carrying case and you get everything packed inside. So you get ear tips, 2 swappable terminations, and finally these 2 types of nozzle filters. And starting with the cable, this is my favorite part in the unboxing. One of the best cables out there in the market. It's basically the B Media / Paris cable. It doesn't tangle a lot. It doesn't have any microphonics. And my favorite part is that you don't have to line up the pins correctly. You can just put it like this and keep twisting until you get it right. And regarding the ear tips, you only get 2 types of ear tips, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wish if they could include more. You get narrow bore and wide bore ear tips, and I really enjoyed using the wide bore ones. For the comfort of this shell, in my opinion, it was not comfortable for the first few days. As you can see here, there's a circular lip here. It's a little bit edgy, as you can see. It's not molded properly on this side, and it's kind of triggered a little bit of pain on my ear for the first 2 days only, but I figured out how to wear the IEMs properly after a few days of use. The nozzle here is not too long, so you will need a longer ear tip. The out-of-the-box ear tips worked fine, but I do recommend the SpinFit W1 or the Dunu SNS's ear tips. And the nozzle here is not too wide, only 6.1 millimeters. And finally, regarding the design, it's an underwhelming faceplate, but it looks a little bit more mature. It's not too shiny or flashy or anything. A lot of people will enjoy this simplicity of the entire design here. And at the bottom, you can see it says Kiwi Ears Halcyon with a breathable hole there. I didn't feel any pressure building up on this shell. And overall, it's a great design. Alright, let's move on and talk about the specs here. For the impedance and sensitivity of the Halcyon, it's okay and you will not require a crazy amount of amplification. You can run it pretty much through anything, but I do recommend at least buying a budget dongle DAC instead of plugging it right through to your PC. And one more thing, it does perform slightly better. The overall dynamics are a little bit tighter on an actual desktop DAC amp like the K11 that I have right there. But also, really no need. The KA15, for example, for half the price will just perform just great. So unfortunately, and spoiler alert, the MEMS driver is not the star of the show when you just wear and listen to the IEM. Mostly what shines a lot is the sub bass. So yeah, let's start with it. And this might look like a neutral set with a bass boost, for example, but I see that dip in the mids and the elevated sub bass, making it more like a mild V-shaped kind of sound signature in my opinion. But whatever, I mean, the sub bass here is very much elevated, not to the point where it's like a bass head elevation of the sub bass, but it is so rumbly, and songs like Angel and, for example, Yeah by Mac Miller have such great extension and rumbliness in the sub bass. I can hear the very low frequencies like the 20s, the 30 hertz, such a top tier sub bass implementation on this set. However, the mid bass is scooped out early to avoid the muddiness in the mids transition, and the mid bass is just not overwhelming and not enough for bass heads. So if you're a bass head, the mids will disappoint you because they don't have that much punch and that much slam in the mid bass. However, I can't say that I didn't enjoy it for hip hop music. I listened to the latest Drake's album, and especially the song Whisper My Name sounded very perfect, so you can easily listen to hip hop and bass heavy songs and still be satisfied with the Kiwi Ears Halcyon. If we move on to the lower mids, we can see a little bit of a dip there. I mean, they wanted it to sound this way. However, I don't like that. I think on higher volumes, I can hear that dip, and especially on the instruments harmonics. Only on higher volumes. On mid volumes, it's great, but when I push the volumes too high, I can hear that dip, and especially on male vocals, they don't sound nasally in particular or anything, but they just sounded a little bit of low resolution, laid back a little bit for the male vocals. But that elevation on the upper mid range that is very early at around 1,200, 300, that is a very early rise for the mid range. Female vocals sound their full body. They're not saying the clearest or like the most forward, they're not forward at all. If anything, the amount of the sub bass just kind of I wouldn't say blurs out the vocals. It just makes them not as forward. They're just slightly laid back a little bit. But the quality of those vocals is amazing. And also without sounding thin, because a lot of sets just focus on that pinner region on the treble. They boost it too much and they forget about the upper mids. And then it makes vocals sound have so much life and soundstage, but they sound so thin. And this set does not do that. It really makes it align with my taste personally for vocals, and female vocals just shine through male vocals. The treble here is not peaky, so if you're a treble sensitive person, you're not going to find any region of this treble harsh or sibilant, so do not worry about that at all. At around 4K, according to Linsol, they say that the MEMS driver starts in the crossover at around 4K hertz. I mean, the MEMS also helps a little bit with the treble, but the 3 balanced armatures are more responsible for the mids. Yeah, the MEMS driver does the rest of that from 4K and above, and I don't see crazy peaks in there. Besides that 8K peak, there's just a slope down in the upper air region, unlike the Metatuned sets that I enjoy a lot and I listened to a lot last year. And here you will be wondering, well, does it have good technicalities if it doesn't have an elevation on the air region? Like, this, is the soundstage good? And here I'm going to talk about that. Unfortunately, the soundstage isn't the widest. At this price range, there are better sets with better soundstage at even $150. But the soundstage is enough, and it doesn't sound artificial. In gaming, like, Kiwi Ears Astral gives a wild soundstage and is so open and crispy, but you know that it's a balanced armature timbre. It's a little bit artificial and crispy. So the Halcyon, no, the Halcyon excels in natural timbre, and that's what I like about the MEMS. This is the only thing that the MEMS makes me realize and distinct between it and between the other types of drivers. So let's talk about gaming a little bit. Honestly, I listen to more music with the Halcyon than gaming, but for gaming, I played a lot of Valorant. I was in a vacation, and it's the only game I play right now when I came back. So unfortunately, I will only give you my thoughts about Valorant. The only thing that the Halcyon does not excel on, and it was noticeable for me compared to the Astral, is the vertical soundstage. I mean, the horizontal soundstage sounds great. I mean, it's not the widest, as I said, and it's just enough and natural, because in gaming, you don't want a crazy soundstage that's fake, because sometimes, for example, this is you and the enemy is standing right here on a wild artificial fake soundstage. You're going to hear the enemy right there, where on the Halcyon, you hear him exactly where he is, or maybe a little bit forwarded, and that could be good in my opinion. It's just more engaging, and it puts you more into the atmosphere and the actual situation you're in Valorant. This is what I noticed with the Halcyon. So personal preference, I think, in terms of the sound, but the verticality is just a little bit lacking. So like, someone was sitting in the window shooting in there, and I thought he was shooting from hill while I was pushing up short, and I got killed there, and it was pretty annoying. But what this set excels on, as I said, is pinpointing enemies, and through the walls I know exactly the positional accuracy of the footsteps, and the overall spatial awareness of enemies sounded very natural. So in other sets, when I buy or get a new IEM, it takes me like a few days or a few hours to really get used to that sound signature and know exactly how the atmosphere of the map sounds like. But on the Halcyon, everything sounded natural right off the bat. Like, the first game I put them on, it sounded like I've been using these IEMs for a while now, and I already know what they sound like. I mean, the Halcyon could definitely be a gaming headphone, and there's really no distortion. The channel balancing is great. The separation is okay, but where the Astral excels in the layering. The layering and the separation of the mids is just better on the Astrals. When there's like so many people in one site, in retakes or whatever, the Astral just gives you pretty much every sound that's possible in the environment, where the Halcyon just focuses on the footsteps, and the gunfires sound a tiny bit louder on the Halcyon, so you lose a little bit of that reloads. Like if an enemy is reloading somewhere far away, or the abilities, those tinkles, the sounds of the abilities used in the map, those are, you may be not going to be paying too much attention to that with the Halcyon, but the footsteps are great. Footsteps are just better on the Halcyon compared to the Astral, in my opinion. But anything else, the Astral just gives you kind of an open, relaxed tuning. But the Halcyon exceeds in being able to be used in a single player game as well. I replayed Hellblade 2, and the Halcyon is so engaging. The Astral is just boring for single player games, and also movies. I can't watch a movie while wearing the Astral. It's just too plain. And that makes the Halcyon a great all-arounder because you can literally listen to any genre from the boring jazz to the engaging hip-hop EDM. I mean, it still works on any music genre, and it works for watching, as I said, movies, playing single-player game. It's just an all-arounder set. You can take this one with you in the bus, commune with it, use it as an audiophile IEM, use it for competitive gaming as well, even though competitive gaming, the Astral wins. But unfortunately, guys, the MEMS driver, in my opinion, I heard what it does. I know exactly what it does in the treble region. Well, I just think that the MEMS, basically, what it does is just, it gives you balanced armature technicalities, but without balanced armature timbre, without that crispy fake sound of the balanced armatures. The timbre is just a great replacement for balanced BAs, and I wish to see more MEMS in one set in the future, hopefully. Well, this is claiming to be the world's first tribrid MEMS implementation, but again, it's not the star of the show. The sub bass is more and more noticeable. However, I mean, this set is interesting. I mean, just forget that MEMS exists at this point and just buy the set to really enjoy it with as an all-arounder great. And having metal shells is just going to last with you for years. The only thing I'm worried about is the area right here. It's a little bit edgy and it could be uncomfortable for a lot of beginners. That's pretty much it for the Halcyon review. If you haven't liked the video, you should, because it supports me a lot. Buying it from the link in the description below also supports me by a small commission in the affiliate link. And thanks so much to Linsol for sending this review unit, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.